We're just getting started. Nothing stops this train. Nothing.
Get used to the mantra, all gas, no brake, no brake, no brake.
From the headquarters of ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut, this is Carlin versus Joe on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
The Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Balmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studio downtown in the capital city on this Black Football Friday. Fired up to be here after fun Thanksgiving away with some family. And we're back in the saddle today with 2 hours of some fun. Big football weekend we're in the middle of. The Egg Bowl last night, amazing. Got football all day today. And, of course, tomorrow in the morning, LSU Senior Day against Texas A&M, the regular season finale. We're talking about that. Got Saints and Falcons on Sunday. We're talking about that. We got Heisman Trophy implications. We're talking about that. Got Alondra Villarreal and Casey Gaines back there on the ones and twos. Appreciate you making us part of your Friday. Whether you're at the office like we are or you're out and about enjoying some time away, thanks for being part of our show. Let's get things cranked up. It's LSU and Texas A&M tomorrow morning from inside Tiger Stadium, 11 a.m. kickoff, Tigers and Aggies. And the story entering this game, outside of Jaden Daniels' Heisman chances and Jimbo Fisher being fired and A&M being in the middle of a coaching search, is this Texas A&M defense against LSU's high-powered offense. You look at Texas A&M and nationally, they've got some gaudy stats. They're 8th in the country in total defense. They're 2nd in the country in terms of tackles for loss. They are 3rd in the country in sacks. They're in the top 10 in third down defense, top 15 in red zone touchdown prevention. They've been really solid defensively, and it starts up front for them, as you know. I mentioned those TFL and sack numbers. Edgerrin Cooper has 7 sacks for them from his linebacker spot, 16 tackles for loss. Shamar Turner, former 5-star, 6 sacks on the year, 10 TFLs. McKinley Jackson, former 5-star, has 3 sacks on the year and has made some plays behind the line of scrimmage. Walter Nolan, big-time recruit, top 10 player in the country. Shamar Stewart, big defensive lineman. Those guys are really, really tough on opposing offensive lines, and they've wreaked havoc all year. And so I would sit here and go, well, that's a good way to try to stop LSU is to get some pressure on the quarterback, and that's all I've heard from the A&M side of things all week. And yeah, Shamar Turner and McKinley Jackson, Walter Nolan, and Shamar Stewart, all big-time recruits. Edgerrin Cooper is having a monster season, going to be a first-team All-League player, could be the conference's defensive player of the year. But all these guys have something in common. They can't run with Jaden Daniels. And since Jaden Daniels has kind of decided he was going to take over football games over the last month, these defensive linemen, I don't care if they're from Alabama, I don't care if they're from Auburn, Army, Florida, they're really non-factors once LSU decides it's a passing play. I've come to a realization. It took me too long, but I've gotten there finally. And it's the same realization I had with Joe Burrow. It's the same realization I had this past spring with Paul Skeens. Eventually, you just stop really breaking things down, and you stop, as an LSU fan, worrying because they're superstars, and they're going to be the best player on the field, and they're going to figure it out. I used to go into Paul Skeens starts going, man, you really need to win this one, because if you don't win this one, the other 2 matchups on the mound maybe don't favor you, and you get kind of worked up and nervous, like, well, you better win the Skeens start, and then he goes out there and strikes out 15 guys and throws 8 shutout innings, and you win the game by 5 runs. Well, LSU's probably going to have to go out there and score 40 points. The defense hasn't played really well this season. Like, Jaden's going to have to be awesome. Guess what? He's going to be awesome, because he's awesome. And these guys from A&M, these former 5-stars that have racked up gaudy numbers, Shamar Turner weighs 290 pounds. McKinley Jackson weighs 325 pounds. Walter Nolan weighs 290 pounds. Even if they beat Emory Jones or Will Campbell, even if they beat Garrett Dellinger and they come through, they're not going to run 5 down. They're just not. Neither am I. None of those guys up front will. And guess what happens when those guys don't create massive amounts of pressure on opposing quarterbacks? Opposing quarterbacks that function in the pocket carve them up. Tyler Van Dyke, Miami, 374 yards and 5 touchdowns on this A&M secondary. Jalen Milroe, 321 yards and 3 touchdowns on this A&M secondary. Jackson Dart, 387 yards and 2 touchdowns on this A&M secondary. All those gaudy numbers I've given you, total defense, tackles for loss, sacks, third down, red zone touchdown prevention, all of these numbers, which are all encompassing. Third down defense involves 11 guys. Red zone defense involves 11 guys. Total defense involves 11 guys. But all these numbers are largely dictated by an awesome defensive front. And the second that Jaden Daniels doesn't hand the ball off to a running back, that defensive front, in my opinion, is completely neutralized. He's too fast, he's too quick, he's too elusive, and he's in too good a control of the offense and what LSU's trying to do right now. Against Florida, 606 yards and 5 touchdowns. You don't think Florida's got some athletes on defense? 606 yards and 5 touchdowns. Missouri, they're playing well. They've been great this year. 389 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ole Miss, 10-2 football team. 513 yards and 5 touchdowns for Jaden Daniels in a losing effort. Even against Alabama, 382 yards and 3 touchdowns in 3 quarters. It's very, very doable that if Dallas Turner doesn't hit him in the jaw and knock him out of the game, that he goes for 455 yards and 4 touchdowns against Bama. Nobody's doing that. Quinn Ewers had a good game. This guy is the best player in the country, and when he comes out of the tunnel tomorrow night, he'll be the best player in the country, and when they snap him the football tomorrow, he'll be the best player in the country. And I've heard a lot, I listened to a lot of opposing media all week, just as part of show prep, not as a torture mechanism, but I'm just trying to pick up news and nuggets and things here and there that I can then pass on to you. And a lot of what's been said from the A&M side is, well, I mean, if you look at Alabama, they only scored 28 points. Well, if you look at Florida State, they only scored 21 points. Like, A&M can probably, I mean, A&M's as good as those teams on defense. Let's add a little context here. Yeah, only 28 against Alabama, and he got knocked out of the game in the third quarter. Well, the first play of the fourth quarter. So he only played 3 quarters in that game and scored 28 points. And against Florida State, while he was not the player then that he is now, I think that's obvious with the progression. You had a brutal Kyron Lacey drop. You had Malik Neighbors slip and fall. And then in the first quarter, you went for 2 fourth downs and came up with nothing inside the red area. There is no point in this season, not one single solitary point in the entire season, 11 games, where LSU's offense has completely bogged down and looked disjointed, discombobulated, inefficient, and inoperable. Not at any point the entire season. Why would I assume that's going to happen tomorrow? Y'all know me. Y'all know how much I dislike A&M, how much I prioritize this game, how big a deal I think it is, and how I tend to think more of A&M than they are. Y'all have listened to me for years do that. I reached a point with this quarterback and this offense, with Neighbors and Thomas, with Denbrock calling the plays, and the guy who should win the Heisman Trophy taking snaps. I'm off that. I'm off feeling apprehensive about it. Now, that's not an indication that LSU is going to go out there and win this game by 20 points, because the defense still has to play, and they've been awful most of the year. So that part I'm not talking about here. I'm just talking about the LSU offense against this Texas A&M defense that's been really good this year and has a lot of dudes that are going to make a lot of money in the NFL. But against this offense, that matchup sucks for them, because their best piece is neutralized by 5 the second he takes the snap and doesn't hand it off. Now, they may stop the run. They can do that. And they may hit him once or twice. and get a sack or two. But they're not going to get 6. He's not going to be running for his life all day. And even if he is running for his life all day, which he was in Tuscaloosa, he'll just run for his life and run away from you and roll up 200 ground yards like he did on Florida, because that's how good he is. I'm off feeling apprehensive about Jaden Daniels. He's that good, and he will be tomorrow. Now it's up to the defense to get a couple of stops and let him do everything he can to try to get his way to New York, grab a piece of hardwood. Hunt Palmer Show here on a Friday, always brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Probably done cooking for the next couple of days, right? Did a little bit of cooking, got a lot of leftovers in the house, but you may be sick of that after 3 straight meals. Cork's can help you out. Get by the Government Street location. Heading out to tailgate tomorrow, maybe a post-game tailgate. Cork's can help you with that. They've got fantastic fried catfish, great fried shrimp, fantastic po' boys, those crispy shoestring fries. Love telling you about Cork's because it really is awesome. They bring you our Friday shows. Preston Guy of TigerBait.com is going to jump aboard as he does each and every Friday. That's next.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Just mentioned you might be sick of cooking. Well, if you're out in Gonzales, Jersey Mike's is the ticket. It's near the New Heritage Shopping Center right there on Highway 30 in Gonzales. If maybe you're coming in from New Orleans, you're coming in from somewhere east or south on I-10, and you're on the way out tomorrow from watching the game, swing on by that Jersey Mike's there in Gonzales. Grab yourself a bacon ranch chicken cheesesteak for the ride. Whoo, it's good stuff. And if you want to feed the office next week, or you got a big group that you want to do some catering for, Jersey Mike's can help you out with that. They do individually boxed lunches. They do boxes with 12 subs in them that are fantastic as well. You can do a cookie or brownie platter, toss that right on top of it, because that's just good sense, right? Jersey Mike's on Highway 30 in Gonzales. You can download the Jersey Mike's app. You can also find them on DoorDash as well. Our friends at Highway 30 in Gonzales, great friends of us. We love Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's, it's a sub above.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
Final week in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock. Catholic High and John Curtis kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by Louisiana Prep Scoreboard presented by Lake Urgent Care. On YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Moving right along, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We always head out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline this time of the week. Find Preston Guy of TigerBait.com. So we'll do so right now. Preston, happy Thanksgiving. How are you?
Hey, hon. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. How was yesterday? Watch some football? Eat too much?
Yes and yes. Oh, yeah. It was a great Thanksgiving, man.
Do you have any explanation as to why Mississippi State can stop Ole Miss and LSU can't?
Because everybody has a better defense than LSU, I guess.
Yeah, that's a disappointing situation. How do you think they'll handle a third-team quarterback tomorrow?
Well, they're going to give up their points. I'd be lying if I said I've watched a ton of film on this guy. But they're going to give up their points because they just give up points to everybody. But, do I think Texas A&M will outscore LSU? No. I think, A&M will get 17, 24 points, whatever it is they get, and the defense will do just enough, and LSU will handle business.
If LSU holds A&M to 17, I'll throw a party. Just a huge party. Look, as far as A&M goes, you got a third-team quarterback who's pretty average at everything. He's left-handed. He doesn't run all that great. He got a pretty average arm, but they do have some explosive options at wide receiver and some talented running backs. If you're Matt House, kind of what's your plan of action and to try to get a couple of stops?
There's the plan I would do, and then there's the plan that Matt House is going to do.
Okay.
We're going to just talk, it's going to be a lot more of that soft zone, don't get exposed too much deep type situation here. And just see if you can, string together a few plays enough times to really force a stop here. This guy, the Henderson guy has been playing, he is averaging less than 10 yards per attempt. So while, it's certainly not an explosive passing attack, you do have to worry about him still taking shots down the field. So I would say he's going to go more of that, just that bend, don't break mentality, and hopefully you can slow him down running the ball in between the tackles while you're at it.
What would you do?
Oh, what would I do? I would throw these freshmen out there. I would run cover 2 man coverage and let boys become men in front of our eyes. And especially because you have the license with Jaden Daniels, who's going to hang, 45, 50 points every single night, right? Let them play ball. Let them make mistakes. Go get aggressive with Harold Perkins on the edge, blitz them and do. I would run more of a defense as if I had the men to run the defense the way you want to, and stop calling this defense that's so precautionary.
A&M's defense statistically has been great this year. I rattled off a bunch of stats in my opening segment. Do they have what it takes to slow LSU down?
No, I don't think so. But, we'll see. They could prove them wrong. I believe this is the first. They played Abilene Christian with the interim coach in place, right?
Right.
This will be their first SEC game with the interim coach in place. So I just wonder how much it's going to keep on gelling together without Jimbo Fisher in the building. Every once in a while there's an interim coach that lights a fire underneath their guys. Most of the time it doesn't. Jaden Daniels, he's been fantastic against anybody they've played this year. He was fantastic in 3 quarters against Alabama, He was fantastic every other game this year. Let's put it like this. If they score less than 38, I'll be very surprised just because of how elite they've played this year.
Do you think LSU, last week my contention is they were trying to win in the Heisman Trophy. That's why they handed it off 8 times in 48 plays that Jaden was in there. Do you think they revert back to trying to run the ball a little bit more against this tough A&M defense, or is the game plan now like we're just going to let Five do what he does?
Well, last week it was like you're going to win no matter what you do,
right.
So who cares? Let's just pad those stats,
yep.
right? I think we're going to see, obviously probably not as egregious as it was last week, but we're probably going to see a lot of calls. Like, they're not going to call a QB bootleg on 4th and 1. Like, they're going to try to get that touchdown, especially if the game's still, being contested, still within, reach of A&M. But don't you think they're going to try to at least be a little aggressive on pumping Jaden Daniels up to get the Heisman? At least a little bit.
I do. I think, but I do think they're going to try to run the ball a little bit more than they did last week. My gut tells me that A&M is going to sit back in zone to try to stop Jaden from running, and that's just going to create a ton of 7, 8, 12-yard pass completions on stop routes and dig routes and crossing routes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I think it's going to look like.
That sounds right. Yeah, you think they're going to run a spy, huh?
Yeah, but I don't know that matters that much because they don't have anyone on defense that can run with him. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and he's like a greased up pig anyways out there, man. It's like guys will be in position and he doesn't even really make a move and just somehow he's gone anyway. So, yeah, I tend to agree. And not to mention, they've watched the film. They know just how insane Jaden Daniels is at stretching the field. I saw a stat yesterday. Jaden Daniels has 20 touchdowns where he threw the ball in the air, 20 or more yards.
Yeah.
Right? Compare that to like a guy like Bo Nix, who's an elite passer, 17 completions of 20 or more yards in the air. So, I would stick with cover 3 if I'm playing Jaden Daniels at this point. But you're right. If you do that, hey, the underneath stuff's going to be there.
And they're just so efficient at that. What's Malik Neighbors' legacy at this point as an LSU receiver?
Well, not defined yet, in my opinion, but he's top 3 duos, him and Brian Thomas in school history. I think that's pretty fair to say. Him, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. I think that the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson legacy is going to be so hard to touch. They got all those extra games. They didn't lose a football game. They were just unbelievable, and they shined in the biggest moments, right? They're not going to get that stage to compare, but I do think that, those 2 receivers have a chance to eclipse what Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry did. People might look back years from now and think that those 2 were better than those guys. So that's what I'm guessing. Obviously, the dust hasn't settled yet. Let's pause, take a moment, and see where they finish up. Let's see what awards they clean up. I do think that Neighbors deserves the Biletnikoff. I don't think he's going to get it because there's a guy with a very recognizable name who doesn't deserve it but will win it. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. also has going for him that it's Kyle McCord throwing him the football, not Jaden Daniels. And I think voters will use that against him. But that being said, Neighbors is deserving, and if he does win it, then you have to say, man, he's possibly among your best receivers all time, for sure.
If Marvin Harrison has 6 catches for 65 yards tomorrow and doesn't score a touchdown and Michigan wins, I think that Malik Neighbors will win the award. But if Marvin Harrison scores 3 touchdowns tomorrow, I think you can turn the lights out. So that's just I think it's so big. Where are you on the Heisman situation right now?
Anybody who's seen my Twitter the last few days knows I'm fairly convinced it's Daniels, and it shouldn't be very close, but it is very close, particularly with him and Nix. I'll say this. It is technically out of Jaden Daniels' hands at this point. If Bo Nix goes out there in the next 2 weeks, throws 15 touchdowns, right, in these big
2 weeks, that'd be something.
Well, Joe Burrow did it.
Yeah, well.
But that's my point. If he goes out there and just balls out, right, there's nothing Jaden can do. Jaden Daniels could have 9 touchdowns and break Joe Burrow's record tomorrow, and it will not be enough because of the stages that Bo Nix has. That being said, based on what I've seen, every statistical look at this, right, I think Jaden Daniels leads the country in total yards by 800 yards. That's like 2 full football games, right? More than 2 for everybody else, but it is just 2 of Jaden Daniels' football games. He the deep throws, the more context you add to Jaden Daniels' stats, you look at it, okay, against Power 5 opponents, his yards per game goes up, not down, right? There's just no way to really attack. The only way to say Jaden Daniels doesn't deserve the Heisman at this point, you just need to say, I just want to vote for someone on the best football team because they're undefeated, and acknowledge that it's not really about who the best player is for you. It's about who the best football team is. That's the only way I think you can justify going with someone else.
When you just put this thing entirely into perspective, awards, 10 wins, it's A&M, final game, everything, recruiting, the whole deal, how important is LSU winning tomorrow?
Well, it all goes out the window. The Heisman, all the silver lining to this season goes out the window if you lose tomorrow, right? I mean, especially when you think about the other silver lining. So Heisman would be the ultimate silver lining to a disappointing season. Biletnikoff would be great. You're going to have a ton of recruits on campus, by the way, this week. So you really would like to make a good impression on them. Then you got to think about, okay, well, finishing in the top 10, that's on the table. Finishing with a 10-win season after, a sub 500 record the previous 2 seasons, that's on the table, right? So all that out the window, absurdly disappointing. Man, it would be a pretty tough pill to swallow if LSU doesn't win tomorrow. But look, I'm taking LSU minus the points. I think LSU wins by 17 or more.
How do you think the crowd will be?
I hope as good as it comes. There's a handful of opportunities to go watch a potential Heisman winner in Tiger Stadium. And at this point, he's going to be in New York, and he's got the best odds in the country right now. You've got one final opportunity to give him on a send-off. I don't think there's a reason for an empty state seat, and I don't think that there's a reason to leave that game early. I think you should, stay the whole game and watch a special player finish his performance in Tiger Stadium. I genuinely believe that. And, I think 11 a.m., it's tough, but I still think LSU fans will show up. I don't think there will be an empty seat. Now, in the second half, we'll see. We'll see about that because LSU fans aren't notorious for sticking the whole game, but especially if it's not close. But definitely to start the game, I'd be shocked if it's not an electric atmosphere.
All right, Preston, we appreciate a little time on this Good Friday. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
All right, see you, Hunt.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. All your team coverage, Preston has got it for you over there at TigerBait.com. Scores going on right now. Oklahoma all over TCU, 45-16. That game is in Norman, so Oklahoma looking to finish out a 10-2 regular season, which they will do against the Horned Frogs, who we're going to go 5-7 this year after making the national final last year. And then Iowa and Nebraska. I've got a couple of buddies that are on the under in this game. It's 24.5. The total is not the Iowa total. The total for the game is 24.5. Right now it is under, but you got a long way to go, and you're going to need a field goal and a field goal only to keep it there. It's 10-10 between Iowa and Nebraska from Lincoln. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. On the hardwood, Arkansas is playing North Carolina, I believe in Atlantis. Yeah, in Atlantis, and Arkansas leads the Heels 41-39 in Atlanta. So we'll come back, get you ready for the SEC weekend to come. You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana like Marucci Sports. Started out in a shed here in Baton Rouge, expanded, broadened to one of the top baseball brands in the land. Got the Baseball Performance Center here in Baton Rouge. Elite talent from all over the country comes to work here and to just see what they're about here. Brings talent into our state, keeps talent in our state, and their tourism boon every single summer right here in our capital city. Marucci World Series brings thousands of youth athletes, coaches, parents to come watch some baseball here in Baton Rouge. If you know a champion of Louisiana like Marucci Sports, whether it's a business, a nonprofit, a person, we'd love to tell their story. We can make them a champion of Louisiana. Go to lwcc.com/champions to nominate a new champion of Louisiana. Marucci Sports is a champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana loyal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on all new 23 Ford F-150 Black Widow trucks, plus $2,750 discount APR and 5.9% for 72 months. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's a luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours.
Moscona, happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at AFR. We're taking Thursday off, but we'll be back for a Football Friday edition of AFR, previewing the Tigers and the Aggies and the Saints and Falcons. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
Some moody music there, Alondra. Who sings this? Is this Creed?
This is Creed.
Oh, baby. Oh, Creed is so electric.
They're so good.
Oh, my God. All right, let's try to keep it on the rails here. Tomorrow's broadcast schedule, 11 o'clock games, we do a little bit differently here at Guarantee. Got people in the Bayou Ford chat that are just digging the Creed. 11 o'clock kickoff tomorrow means 7 a.m. Eagle 98.1 game day. It'll be Charles Hannegriff and Matt Musso from right here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. Then they'll hand off to me at 9 o'clock. I'll actually be in studio tomorrow as well over at LSU for the LSU Sports Radio Network's pregame show. That'll go 9 to 10:30. We'll hand it off to the broadcast team at that point. They'll have the call of the game. 30 minutes after the game goes final, it'll be the LSU Sports Radio Network's post-game show, myself, Brandon Taylor, and Marlon Favorite taking your interaction. And 90 minutes after the game goes final, Eagle 98.1 Game Day's post-game show from Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee. It'll be Charles Handegriff over there for 3 hours taking your phone calls, hopefully celebrating an LSU win. So 7 a.m. pregame, go all the way till about 8 p.m. tomorrow locally over on Eagle 98.1. So very much looking forward to getting out there bright and early tomorrow to watch LSU and A&M. But right now, we're talking NFL. Let's go through our tier list. Alondra, cue the music. Oh, love that song. Brings back childhood memories. Every week we go through our NFL tiers. Of course, there's been some action already in the National Football League 3 games yesterday. We'll start in Tier 4 this weekend. The Panthers are at the Titans. This is Levis against Bryce Young. Derrick Henry is kind of, I think, reached the peak of his career and is very quickly on a downward trajectory. He's only averaging 66 yards a game right now. He's only run for 4 touchdowns. These two teams stink, and nobody should be watching that game. Pats at the Giants. This is not Eli and Brady anymore, folks. These are the league's worst 2 scoring offenses in terms of points per game. Bill Belichick continues to be asked who his starting quarterback is, and he says, oh, everybody's ready to go. Everybody's ready to go. So he's not going to tell you. Whoever goes out there will not play very well. So we'll be dueling with Tommy DeVito. Not watching that either. Those are your 2 Tier 4 games this weekend. In Tier 3, the Steelers are at the Bengals. It's the Jake Browning era in Cincinnati. I will be pulling hard for all the Bengals opponents. That's not difficult for me. I've only been pulling for the Bengals for 3 years. I'm a diehard. You know this, but I can relinquish those and go ahead and pull for them to lose so the Bengals get a better draft pick because they're going nowhere with Jake Browning taking snaps. The Steelers have been outgained in every game this year, and they're 6-4. That's because they have a really, really good head coach. Tier 3, Bucks are at the Colts. The Colts have the worst rushing defense in the NFL over the last month, and Tampa hasn't had a 100-yard rusher since Week 10 of last year. So can the Bucks get that ground game going? They're still theoretically in the mix here in the putrid NFC South, so if you're a Saints fan, go Colts. The Rams are at the Cardinals. This is bad, too, Tier 3 stuff. The Rams are 12-2 against the spread against the Cardinals under Sean McVay, so they've been a pretty good play, but Matt Stafford is about done, folks. 9 touchdowns, 8 picks this year. He doesn't look healthy. He got his Super Bowl. He got where he needed to go. It's about time for him to ride off into that Hollywood sunset. Tier 2, we're getting to some good football here. The Dolphins are at the Jets. That's at 3 o'clock today. The Dolphins scored 10 touchdowns in one game this year. The Jets have 9 touchdowns this season. The Dolphins scored more touchdowns in one game than the Jets have this entire year. Yeesh. The Browns are at the Broncos. Denver's won 4 straight. Sean Payton's got them cooking. Myles Garrett has 13 sacks to lead the league. He'll probably get to know Russell Wilson pretty well. The Browns are hard to watch. They're kind of like the Iowa of the NFL. That's a real, real good defense. The Chiefs are at the Raiders. Kansas City has won 7 of their last 8 against the Raiders. And again, in those games, Patrick Mahomes, 21 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Man, it's like life for all those AFC East teams while Brady was around. It just stinks to be in the AFC West these days because you just got to deal with Mahomes twice a year, and it's probably not going to go well, and it doesn't generally go very well for the Raiders. The Ravens are at the Chargers. That's some good football. The Chargers' defense is the worst in the NFL against the pass. They're second worst in yards per game allowed and completions allowed. Here comes Lamar Jackson. He should be able to light them up. And the Ravens' defense, by the way, real good. Top 3 in almost every single statistical category. It feels like we're moving towards a coaching change with the Chargers, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then Tier 1, the top games of the weekend. I've got a couple of those. The Jaguars are at the Texans. This has probably never been in Tier 1, Jaguars and Texans, but it is right now. If Houston wins, they tie for the AFC South lead. They drafted the right quarterback. I don't know that the Panthers did. Houston is incidentally 10-1 against the Jaguars since 2018. I would not have figured Houston was 10-1 against anybody, but I guess that proves just how inept the Jaguars franchise has been. And then Bills at the Eagles. I think this has got a chance to be a really, really good one. When you look at the records, it doesn't look that good because Buffalo's only 6-5. They fired their offensive coordinator. Philadelphia is 9-1. They've got the best record in football. But the Bills average more yards per game than Philly. The Bills' point differential is plus 104 this year, and the Eagles is just plus 61. It's turnovers that destroy Buffalo. They've got to find a way to clean that up. If they do, I think they're a threat in the AFC, but they haven't to this point, and Philly just finds ways to win. And, folks, it's getting to crunch time in fantasy, and I've got Jalen Hurts, so let's keep seeing that brotherly shove. That's your look around the Southeastern Conference. We'll do that in 20 minutes. That's your look around the National Football League and your tier list. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. When we come back, we're going to get you ready for Saints and Falcons. We'll also get you ready for some basketball in the PMAC tonight. Don't go anywhere. It's a Football Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Sangrove joined me and Jimmy out for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch. We're at Big Mike's on Aspen Square in Denham Springs, recapping the final regular season weekend of the college football season. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
So you remember last year LSU's men's basketball team went to the Cayman Islands and they lost a game because the clock operator didn't hit the button on time? Well, I'll one-up you there. The women are in the Cayman Islands playing in a tournament, and someone pulled the fire alarm before the game was supposed to start. So they had to evacuate the gym. You got all the players out there in uniform standing in the parking lot. But they have gotten everything under control. LSU and Niagara have resumed warm-ups, and they have started playing. LSU's doubling them up 28-14. If you'd like to listen to LSU women in the Caymans, you can on Talk 107.3 right this second. Patrick Wright on the call down there for the Lady Tigers, who have a commanding lead over Niagara. Saints and Falcons coming up on Sunday. I've got an idea for the Saints. Just throwing it out there. Maybe get off the bus and show up in the first quarter. Is that too difficult? You had a week off last week, so you shouldn't be, exhausted. Listen to these numbers. They were down 24-3 at halftime against Minnesota. Down 14-7 in the second quarter to Tyson Badgett's led Bears team. Down 17-7 at Indianapolis. Down 17-6 at the half to Jacksonville. Down 17-7 at Houston. They've been playing from behind for a month. Get off the bus and show up. It's not like they've been inept. They made a run at all these teams. They made a run at Minnesota. They beat the Bears. They showed up in the second half against Indianapolis. They made it interesting against Jacksonville. They got within striking distance against Houston. It's not like they get dusted, but they've been playing from behind for a month now. That's a really tough way to make a living. Tell that defense to crank the intensity level up a little bit in the first half and give yourself a chance. And offense, let's get it moving. Derek Carr is out of concussion protocol. He was able to practice yesterday. We have not seen the injury report for today. That'll come out in probably about an hour and a half. But look, this game against Atlanta is big for the NFC South. We know that. Is it big for home field advantage? Is it likely that one of these teams uses it to springboard its way to a huge second half of the season run and a big playoff run? Probably not. But it's important because these two teams are playing for the lead in the South on Sunday. Saints are 5-5, Falcons 4-6. And one thing that I'm pointing to in this game that is hard to handicap, it's hard to predict, but it's so vital, is the turnover margin. And in 2022, the Saints were atrocious at forcing turnovers. They were dead last in the NFL in terms of drives that ended in a turnover. It was like 7% of the drives against them ended in a turnover. They were dead last in the NFL in that number. This year, they've turned that around. They're 8th in the league. They are forcing turnovers. They forced at least one turnover in their first 9 games this year. They had that streak snapped in the game against Minnesota where they did not force a turnover. But this should be an opportunity, you would think, to create some game-changing turnover plays. Desmond Ridder has fumbled 7 times this year, and he's had 3 different games where he had multiple interceptions. He had 3 interceptions in a game against Washington, 2 against Jacksonville. He stinks. Can we all agree on that? He's not a real NFL starting quarterback. He's a guy they took a flyer on. They're just giving it a look. Ask anybody in that organization, I would imagine, with some truth serum or maybe a couple cold pops, they'd go, yeah, this is not the answer. He's also held on to the ball too long. He got sacked 7 times by Detroit, 5 more by the Titans. And the Saints pass rush has been bad. It's been bad. You've gotten some from Granderson, some from Brzee, but Cam Jordan hasn't really shown you much. Brought in Colin Saunders. That wasn't really a pass rush move, but Foskey is still a work in progress. They got to find some pass rush on Sunday to get to Desmond Ridder. 1, he'll hold on to the ball too long, and you can create some real big sack plays that can put the Falcons behind the chains. 2, he fumbles, or he'll make bad decisions and throw interceptions, and you've got an opportunistic group back there, even without Lattimore. Adebo's been great. You like Taylor. I'd like it if I could trust Tyron to go back there and get some picks. That may be a little ambitious. But the window's open against these guys to create some negative plays and to create some big game-changing plays via turnover. The Saints have done that all year long until last time out. They need to make that happen coming up on Sunday. Offensively, look, Matt's calling Derek Carr the emperor of empty yards. A lot of that's because of the scores I just rattled off where they're getting so far behind. The teams are kind of backing up and allowing them to get some yards and get some rhythm going because they just run out of time. But there have been flashes this year where they've shown something. And I'm willing to concede that there will be some flashes the rest of the way. I don't think that the Saints offense looks like the Bears or the Jets or the Panthers. It doesn't look like the Browns. There are some functioning pieces here. They just don't function for 4 quarters. And you may not need them for 4 quarters here. You may need them for most of the game. You've had a week off to prepare. You've got your quarterback back. You got to make up for the loss of Michael Thomas. I don't know how big a deal that is. But they need to just get a lead. Play from in front. Open up the playbook where it's not just, well, now we got to throw it every time. We're down 24-3 to Minnesota. We're down 17-7 to Indianapolis. We're down 17-7 to Houston. Got to sit back and chunk it. Can't get Taysom involved. It's so much easier to play offense if you can play a little bit from ahead, and maybe that will allow them to run the football some more, because that has just been a disaster. Now, your offensive line that was so porous early in the year is as healthy as it's been and seems like they've kind of got guys where they want them. They're pass blocking better. Now you've got to do some run block. They've got to try to get the traditional run game going somehow, some way. It just hasn't happened yet. Atlanta's a little banged up front. Like to have Grady Jackson there. But whether it's just Taysom or the traditional ground game, like just find a way to get it moving. The Saints win this game, you feel like you've got a real grip on the division. You don't have it, it's not tucked away, it's not a cinch, but you feel like you've got a grip on the division if you can win on Sunday. If you lose on Sunday and come home to play Detroit, this thing could flip. Now, you win on Sunday, you're 6-5, Atlanta's 5-7. You've got the tiebreaker. They got to come to you to end the season. They stink anyway. Like, the math looks pretty good with a win. With a loss and what's coming the next week with a good Detroit team that looked terrible yesterday, boy, did that make Thanksgiving feel right at home. Just settle in, eat some food, and watch the Lions get crushed. But they're pretty good, and all of a sudden you're staring 5-7 right in the face. And if this whole time we've been saying that you need to get to 9-8 and you're at 5-7, you'd have to go 4-1 down the stretch. I haven't seen anything that indicates to me that the Saints are going 4-1 ever. So this one feels like it's massive. Am I going to use the term must win? I'm not, because it's not. But it's close. Must win means must win. Means you have to win or it's over. It's not over if the Saints don't win, because I can see a situation like last year where 8-9 wins the division. Think about this. If 8-9 does win the division and the Saints win on Sunday to go to 6-5, all you got to do is go 2-4 down the stretch. I think that's doable. It's like a tired talking point that the division stinks and that's what we're in it for. Like, what else you want me to say? Look at Carolina. Look at Tampa. You'll watch the Saints and Falcons on Sunday. It won't be a work of art, I promise. But if the Saints can get it done, you start to think, well, okay, I think this is trending towards a playoff game. And I don't know how you feel about Seattle or Dallas coming into the Dome in January, but beats the hell out of it not happening. So we'll see. My final pick's coming up at the end of the hour, end of hour 2. So an hour from right this second, we'll be in the middle of our picks for LSU A&M and the Saints and the Falcons. Today, Rouse's remote. I'll be out there from 3 to 5. I'm assuming a lot of your groceries were consumed yesterday. So if that's the case and you need to do some tailgating shopping, come on out, or weekend shopping. Come on out to the Rouse's Burbank and Lee. I'll be there from about 3:15 until 5 o'clock. I'll have gift cards, shirts, hats, cups, keychains. I think that's about it. And I'll be hanging out before I head over to the PMAC to watch a little basketball this evening. So come on by Rouse's Burbank and Lee. We always have a good time. T-Bob's out this week, so I'll be holding it down over there at Rouse's. That was hour one here on this Friday edition, brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Open things up, talking about LSU and Texas A&M. My thoughts on Jaden Daniels against this good A&M defense. Preston Guy from TigerBait.com was with us at 1:15, and we got you ready for the NFL weekend that is on tap at 1:30. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand, 104.5 ESPN on demand tab. 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you found your sound, you can find us also on YouTube. Hour 2's coming up. Got some SEC picks against the number. Got some more LSU A&M talk. We got Take It or Leave It, and my final picks. Come back after SportsCenter. Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on all new 23 Ford F-150 Black Widow trucks, plus $2,750 discount APR and 5.9% for 72 months. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
This is SportsCenter.
Okay, because it is the first ever Black Friday game in the history of the NFL. Jets and the Dolphins. Tim Boyle gets the start for the New York Jets today. Why? Because he's not Zach Wilson. There is no other reason why Tim Boyle is starting this game other than the fact that he's not Zach Wilson. Dolphins are 7-3, tied to the loss column, but the Ravens and Chiefs in the top spot for the American Football Conference standings. Dolphins 7-3. Jets entering with Tim Boyle at starting quarterback. 9.5-point favorite of the Dolphins according to ESPN Bet. Your total now 38.5 according to ESPN Bet. Kickoff in a matter of moments. College football. TCU and Oklahoma. The Sooners are up 52-37. They play with 2:36 to go in the third quarter. Dylan Gabriel, 3 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown run. Iowa and Nebraska. The total closed at 25.5, lowest in the history of the game. Tied 10-10 in the fourth. 5 minutes to go. Nebraska is lined up for a field goal. And the field goal, I swear to God, hit the concession stand. That's how wide left it was. NBA in-season tournament underway. Celtics by 8 in Orlando win the group with a win.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2 here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. For those that were just listening to that SportsCenter update, I've been doing this show now for 3 years or two full years and a half. They've been doing SportsCenter in the middle of it for more than half of that. I've never heard the SportsCenter host say he swore to God, but he did on that one, that Iowa tried to kick a field goal and it hit the concession stand, I believe. What Iowa is doing this year, there needs to be a 14-piece documentary on this. In an era where everybody is spreading the field, fun and guns, scoring 40 every week, all over the field, basketball on grass, Iowa is locked up in a 10-7 game every single week. Last week I looked up and it was 3-2, literally. That's what the score would be if they were writing a movie about a team that was struggling. That's not something that really happens in real life, and Iowa allowed it to happen. They are very special, and right now, if somebody can kick a field goal in the last 4 minutes of the game and they can hit the under on a 25-point over-under, that's legendary. Amazing stuff in Iowa City. All right, let's focus in on the SEC here as we do each and every Friday. My picks against the number. This is the last week. Unless I need the SEC championship game to get over 500, we're going to call it after this week. Thus far, we are 45, 41, and 2. Last night, we had Mississippi State. We had them plus the 10. I had no reason for making that selection. There was nothing that indicated that that was the proper play because Ole Miss is a good football team and Mississippi State's putrid. I had no basis in my pick other than that it just seemed like the line was dead wrong, and lo and behold, it pushed. 10-point number, 10-point game. It's a push. What really puzzled me last night watching the game, is that Mississippi State, whose team was so bad, whose defense was so inept, that they fired their coach 10 games into the season, held Ole Miss to 17 points on a gorgeous night in Starkville. And Ole Miss went up and down the field on LSU, looked like a pinball machine. Why? How? I don't understand. But that's what it was last night. The Egg Bowl is wild. It is crazy. And Will Rogers entered the transfer portal this morning after playing in it. So, Still got a lot of action to get to. SEC cranks up here in an hour, but I am 4 games over 500 for the season. Let's get into the final week. All right, things start up today. Arkansas is playing Missouri in Fayetteville. That number is 9.5. The crowd last week in Fayetteville was atrocious for Florida International. See if the Hog faithful can show up to support their coach, who apparently is coming back next year. Missouri can basically clinch a New Year's Six game if they win this game, I think. They scored 30-plus on every SEC team except the Georgia Bulldogs, so it's pretty much a given that Brady Cook, Luther Burden, and company is going to go over 30. Do I think Arkansas can find enough on offense to keep up? I just don't. I think the environment will be sleepy today. I think Missouri's got everything to play for, and the air is totally out of the balloon for Arkansas. Maybe they conjure something up for KJ Jefferson's senior day. I don't know, but I take Missouri. I laid the 9.5 points, and I feel pretty good about it. 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, Kentucky is at Louisville. The battle for the Bluegrass there. 7.5 is the number. Kentucky's lost 5 out of 6. Louisville is 10-1. And they get a compromised Florida State team next week in the ACC championship game. Meanwhile, as Louisville sits here at 10-1, Purdue is 3-8 and 2-6 in Big Ten play. Think they missed Jeff Brom a little bit? I think they just might. Here's my analysis on this game. Louisville against Kentucky. I think it's called the Governor's Cup or something. Here's the analysis. Kentucky sucks, okay? They're terrible. Louisville's not terrible. Lay the 7.5. I got Louisville. I think Mark Stoops' team is awful. 2:30 game on CBS. It's the Iron Bowl. Saban's 4-4 in Jordan-Hare as the head coach at Alabama. 4-4. Weird things happen in that stadium in the Iron Bowl. This is the 10-year anniversary of the Kick Six. I was at a high school football game for that over at Parkview. It was Parkview and U-High. And everyone just started going nuts when it happened. I was actually sitting pretty close to Les Miles because one of his kids was on the team. But look, Auburn plays good run defenses. They struggle. They couldn't score on A&M, who's got a good run defense first in the conference. Couldn't score much on Georgia, who's the third-rated rush defense in the conference. Bama's the fifth-rated rush defense in the conference. So I think Auburn's going to really struggle to score points. And Bama's offense is cooking right now. I think that it might stay reasonably close. Maybe it's a 21-point game and you get a late garbage time touchdown to backdoor cover for Auburn, but I'm not going to bet on that. So give me Alabama. I will lay the 13 points with the Tide. 2:30 game on the SEC Network. Vanderbilt is at Tennessee. That's a 27-point line. Tennessee, over the last 2 weeks, has been outscored 74-17. Not going great on Rocky Top for them. However, how about this for a stat? Vanderbilt's last win, the last time Vanderbilt won a football game, was the day before LSU and Florida State kicked off. Got it? That's the last time Vanderbilt won a game. Tennessee and LSU are the only SEC teams that average 200 yards per game on the ground. Vanderbilt's got the worst run defense in the league. I'm trying to stay above 500 here in this SEC pick'em for the season-long deal. I'm not going down because I bet on Vanderbilt. That's just not – I'm not willing to stake my claim to the Commodores, okay? We're going to take the Vols. We're going to lay a lot of points there. It's 27. But can't you see this at 51-20? Like, I can. We'll take it. We'll take the team that's been outscored by 60 over the last 2 weeks in Tennessee. 6 o'clock game from the Swamp in Gainesville. Florida State versus Florida. No Graham Mertz. No Jordan Travis. It's Max Brown against Tate Rodemaker down in the Swamp. Florida is catching 6.5 at home. Rodemaker, 6'4", redshirt junior from Valdosta, Georgia. He was a 3-star recruit. Here's my reasoning for my pick on this game. I think Jordan Travis is awesome. I do not think Graham Mertz is awesome. I think the come down from Jordan Travis to Tate Rodemaker is more drastic than the come down from Graham Mertz to Max Brown. So I'll take Florida, and I'll take the 6.5 points. They may lose this game, and I won't be surprised at all. But I think they can keep it close in the Swamp. Napier really needs to do that. You miss a bowl game, that's a bad look for Florida in year 2 under Napier. We'll see. With Travis, I think this is a cakewalk for Florida State. I think he's that good. Maybe a bit of a step down. I'll take the points in the Gators. 6:30 on ABC. Georgia Tech hosting Georgia. Some clean old-fashioned hate here. 24 is the number. Georgia Tech is 6-5. but they've played some pretty good teams close. They played Louisville to a 5-point game. They were competitive with Ole Miss for 3 quarters. They won at Miami. They beat North Carolina. None of those teams are even close to Georgia's class, I know, but they have played some competitive games. This is less about Georgia Tech for me and them being good and Haynes King playing quarterback. Remember that name? But it's more about Georgia kind of playing with its food when they're not fired up to play. The South Carolina game, the Auburn game this year, Missouri last year. We know when Georgia locks it in what they're going to look like. I don't know if they lock it in for Georgia Tech in a 50-50 environment in Bobby Dodd Stadium. They got eyes on Alabama. They got eyes on a championship. Who gives a rip about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets? Give me all 24 of those points. I'll take the Jackets. May regret that one, but I'll take the points in Atlanta. And the last game here, 6:30 on SEC Network. Clemson is at South Carolina. Gamecocks are catching 7.5. Clemson was 4-4 at one point this year. Since then, they beat Notre Dame, they beat Georgia Tech, they beat North Carolina. South Carolina was 2-6 on the year. They've won 3 straight against Jacksonville State, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. Clemson is second in the ACC in pass defense. That's really all South Carolina can do to you. It's Spencer Rattler. It's Xavier Leggett. It's them trying to air it out. They don't run it well. They don't stop the run. They don't play defense all that well. But they're going to play really hard in this game. They need it to get bowl eligible. It's in their stadium. It's against their hated rival. I just feel like I really like the half a point here because it's 7.5. Clemson's better than South Carolina. I've been hating on South Carolina for like a month now once I realized how statistically bad they were. I'm not giving them credit for squeaking one out against Jacksonville State or, beating up on an awful Vanderbilt team. But I like the 7.5 here in Williams-Brice. Say one thing about South Carolina. Their fans are awesome. They're not good really ever, but their fans will show up, and they'll shake the shirts, and they'll go sandstorm, and they'll get fired up, and the rooster will get in the cage, and all that. They're not good at football, but they care. And I think that they'll care enough to keep it close with their hated rivals in state. So I will take them and the 7.5 points. Those are my picks against the spread. We've got Missouri minus 9.5, Louisville minus 7.5. I'm laying 13 with Alabama. I am laying 27 with the Vols. Is that laying enough points there? Those are all favorites. We finally took a road dog here with Florida plus 6.5. Georgia Tech catching 24 and South Carolina catching 7.5. Let's try to get to the finish line over 500 in Southeastern Conference play. Gotta love the SEC on CBS theme song. Not quite the Big Ten on CBS theme song yet. It will be, but it's not just yet. So plenty to get to over the next 45 minutes. We got Take It or Leave It coming up in 15 minutes. We have got my final picks for both of these football games, the Saints, Falcons, and LSU, Texas A&M. When we come back, a little more on the Tigers and the Aggies. That's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Practice or play? Try Schneider's Golf Mechanics on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Schneider's Golf Mechanics has 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators available to you so you don't have to fight crowded courses or carve out 5 hours to play 18 holes. Just pop into Schneider's Golf Mechanics and hit balls for an hour. No matter the weather or time of day, you can always play some golf at Schneider's Golf Mechanics. And they can fix your clubs as well. Schneider's Golf Mechanics. Fix your clubs, fix your game.
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Final week in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock. Catholic High and John Curtis kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by Louisiana Prep Scoreboard presented by Lake Urgent Care. On YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
I said in the first hour that this Iowa football team needed a 14-part docuseries or something. I can't get enough. I find it hysterical. The over-under on this game, I believe, was 25.5. Right now, with 55 seconds to play in the game, it is Iowa 10, Nebraska 10. They have combined for 20 points. This is destined for Scott Van Pelt bad beats, because if you've got the under in this game, Deacon Hill, Iowa's quarterback, listen to this line. This sounds like 1915. It's 2023. He's 11 of 27 for 94 yards. That's 3.5 yards he's averaging per attempt. It's just poetry. And these teams are going to get to overtime, because I don't think Iowa's going to go down and score here. Why would I suggest that they're going to go down and score in 55 seconds? They're going to go to overtime at 10-10. And the over-under bettors are going to have to hope that one team makes a field goal and another team misses a field goal. And I guess that's probably what's going to happen, because we don't think they can score from, I don't even know, it's a 25-yard line, right? The 25 or the 25-yard line. It's just utterly ridiculous, the product that Iowa puts out there every week. They're so good on defense, and they cannot complete a forward pass and get into the end zone. They just can't do it. And it makes it even funnier that the offensive coordinator is the head coach's son. We've got to have the Netflix series on how inept this has been. Full swing on the PGA Tour, cancel it. Last chance you, get rid of it. I want the Hawkeyes. Tell me how this day and age you can be that good on defense and that historically awful on offense. Incredible stuff. I can promise you this. It will not be 10-10 with 55 seconds to go in the game in Tiger Stadium tomorrow when LSU and Texas A&M play each other. I said this back on Wednesday. It's something I very much believe. When you play LSU this season in football, you do not get to dictate the terms of the game in terms of the pace and the style of game. It's going to be a shootout. That's the only thing LSU can do because they're so good on offense and they're so good, so bad on defense. And that's what I think we'll see. That part is not really a question to me. I think there is a reasonable question about what the crowd's going to be like in Tiger Stadium. There are so many variables with this game. We talk about this all the time. At Tiger Stadium, when it's at its best, is as good as there is in college football. I'm not one of those who sits here and goes, this is the greatest thing in the history of college football. Look, I've been in Bryant-Denny when it's plenty loud. I've been in the Swamp when it's plenty loud. I've been in Kyle Field when it's plenty loud. I've been in Neyland Stadium when it's pretty loud. I've been in Sanford Stadium, Jordan-Hare. I've been all those places when it's plenty loud. And I can't vehemently sit here and tell you the Tiger Stadium stands alone as the only place that can reach a certain level of intimidation and noise. Like, it's great when it's awesome. But for it to be great, for it to be awesome, LSU's got to be good. The opponent's got to be good. You need the right time of day. You need a tight game. You need LSU to still be in the hunt for something. Like, there are a lot of things that need to happen for it to be great. More often than not, it's what it looked like against Florida, which LSU was putting up a historic offensive night against Florida in that game. They had already lost to Alabama, and in the second half, many people were no longer there. It was 70% full, 65% full. I mean, the upper decks were like empty. And so it's a question, like, what kind of environment for a team that's lost 3 games? It's 11 o'clock game. A&M, while it is a rival, they're not very good this year. They fired their coach. It's hunting season. Like, what's the juice level in Tiger Stadium tomorrow? I have my thoughts. And we'll make it the Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day. What kind of environment do you expect in Tiger Stadium tomorrow? Full and electric? Mediocre? Bad? I don't know. We'll find some poll options and we'll put it up there on the 1045 ESPN Twitter handle. I think when they kick this thing off tomorrow inside Tiger Stadium, the environment will be good. I believe there are some people who will want to see Jaden Daniels play. I believe there are some people that will want to see Jaden Daniels Senior Day. I think the weather is going to be excellent, which helps. Like, there, as is almost always the case, unless it's like 2019 Burrow, undefeated team, greatest player in the history of the school. Like, even the hunting and fishing crowd that is at deer camps this time of year, duck camps this time of year, come back for that one. But most often, like this time of year, there are some people that, like, weekends, we're at the camp. Like, that's what we're doing. And we're not going to Tiger Stadium, especially not to see a team that's lost 3 games that's going to the ReliaQuest Bowl. But I think that this weekend, it'll be good at 11 o'clock. I can't promise you what it looks like in the fourth quarter, but at 11 o'clock, I think that place is going to be juiced up and ready to go. Not going to be 2012 Bama. Not going to be 2022 Bama. But it'll be good in there tomorrow morning. Because I think that everyone is kind of caught on post-Florida. Like, we're watching some history here. We're watching a guy who is 800 yards clear of everybody else in total offense this year. We might be watching the 3rd Heisman Trophy winner in the history of the school. And, yeah, it's at 11 o'clock, and that stinks. Yeah, A&M fired their coach. Yeah, we're not going to Atlanta next week. But you know what? We need to see that one more time. And guess what? It's going to be 60 degrees with the sun shining. That's a pretty sellable thing. I think that even the folks that won't come, that are traveling for Thanksgiving or at the camp this weekend, are going to find a home for their tickets. And I think that when they kick it off, it'll be damn near full. I hope so, because Jaden Daniels deserves that. And this offense, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, deserves that. And the defense, quite honestly, could use it. I'm going to give my pick here in 30 minutes, and I'll tell you kind of how I feel that the LSU defense will handle A&M. You got a 3rd-team quarterback and a lot of talent around, and you know that. But they have had statistically better days in front of the home crowd. And that's because Auburn is not very good on offense, and neither is Army, neither is Grambling. And, yeah, Florida State's pretty good on offense. Bama's pretty good on offense. Ole Miss is pretty good on offense. Missouri's pretty good on offense. And those are all on the road. I get it. But I think that the home crowd can help the defense. And I think it can potentially rattle a guy who really hasn't played any college football in Jalen Henderson. And I think that could help the defense do what it needs to do. They don't have to be Iowa's defense. You don't have to pitch a shutout, which, by the way, 7 seconds to go in that game. It's still 10-10. You don't have to do that. You just got to be a little better than you have been. You just got to get a couple stops. We've talked about it. You know the drill at this point. And that may help. So if you're on the fence about going, still thinking about it, just make an effort. I got a feeling those that are on the fence of whether or not they want to go watch this guy play football, probably not our main demo here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Those that are locked into us are probably pretty locked in on the game, and I think we'll probably be there. So I'm probably preaching to an empty room, but just my 2 cents on this whole deal. You want my thoughts on Jaden Daniels and how I think he performs tomorrow. I did it at the top of the show. Pretty emphatic about it, quite frankly. So you can catch that on demand anywhere you find your audio, Google, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find your audio. You can find the Hunt Palmer Show on demand. And I gave my thoughts on that, and I'll give more color to that at the end when I make my picks for the Saints and Falcons and then LSU A&M. But I think tomorrow is going to be a really good day on campus, and I'm very much looking forward to it. As far as our broadcast schedule goes for tomorrow, we changed things up a little bit for the 11 o'clock kickoffs. We on Eagle 98.1 game day, we start at 7 o'clock. That'll be Charles Handegriff and Matt Musso from right here in the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studio. They'll go from 7 to 9. I'll take over on the LSU Sports Radio Network from 9 to 10:30 with our pregame show. It'll be Brandon Taylor and Marlon Favorite with me from in studio on campus. So for those that come by and see us on set by the trailer, by the PMAC, we will not be there tomorrow because they'll have a band playing and whatnot. It's an early kickoff. But we'll be in studio. We'll be on the air from 9 to 10:30. 30 minutes after the game goes final, Fighting Tiger postgame report with me, Marlon, and Brandon taking your reaction via Twitter. 90 minutes after the game goes final from Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee, Charles Handegriff will have the Eagle 98.1 game day's postgame show. And he'll be on for 3 hours taking your phone calls and dissecting the day in college football. It's, of course, LSU and A&M. 11 o'clock, 11:05 kickoff from inside Tiger Stadium. We still got a couple of things to take care of here on this Friday edition presented by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. When we come back, we'll play some Take It or Leave It. And, of course, my pick coming up at the end of the show. It is The Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. David Duvall and his team been in the game 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you're looking for a Christmas gift for a loved one that you live with, how about a new bathroom? How about a new closet? I think that'll probably go over pretty well, and David Duvall and his team are happy to do it as this holiday season is upon us. Go to OneBathAndClosets.com, click that button for the free consultation. David will come in, and he'll show you what they can do. Maybe it's a full-scale renovation of the entire bathroom. They can do that. Soup to nuts, as David always says. They can handle your entire operation. They're a licensed contractor, and they'll do it. Maybe it's something simple. Just take that tub out that you never use, put in a gorgeous glass walk-in shower, changes the look, changes the functionality of your bathroom, and they can do it for you. If your closet's cluttered, too small, need to be customized to your exact wardrobe, David and his crew can do that as well. Check out the pictures of their great work and the testimonials. You can request that free consultation at OneBathAndClosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Running Bart's marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore.
Moscona, happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at AFR. We're taking Thursday off, but we'll be back for a Football Friday edition of AFR, previewing the Tigers and the Aggies and the Saints and Falcons. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gotta keep them separated.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
I mean, don't you ever doubt the 2023 Iowa Hawkeyes. You don't think they can get under 25.5? Sure they can. Field goal at the gun, 13-10 Iowa. This team has won 10 games with no ability to score a point. Truly special. 13-10, the final. There was a great tweet, and now I've lost it, and I don't know who sent it, but it's something to the effect that for Brian Ferentz to keep his job, he had to average 25 points per game. Iowa, in the Big Ten championship game and the bowl game, will have to score somewhere in the neighborhood of 130 points over 2 games to get to 25 points per game. Somehow, I don't think they're going to average 70 a pop. Wow. Under 25.5, and it cashes. Iowa is truly special on both sides of the ball this year. All right, Alondra, let's play Take It or Leave It.
All right. Oregon State ends Bo Nix's Heisman run tonight. Take it or leave it?
I'm going to leave it. Bo's playing really good football. The great clip that somebody put out that Jaden Daniels has 20 touchdown passes of 20 yards or more, and Bo Nix has like 17 completions of 20 yards or more. Oregon does run a dink and dunk offense. A lot of stuff in the flat, a lot of screen game, a lot of hitch routes. But he's played great. His completion percentage is through the roof. He's not turning the ball over at all. They're winning a lot of football games. And while Oregon State does have a good team and they'll be fired up and ready to play, it's in Eugene. Too much on the line for the Ducks. And so I'm hopeful that there's a stub toe here from Bo Nix, because that's what I think Jaden Daniels needs. I've been talking about that for now a week and a half. I just don't think it's tonight. I'm hoping for it, and trust me, when I get home from the basketball game tonight, I'll be locked into that, hoping that Nix throws a couple of picks or that Oregon State can win the game. Because if we get to where they're fairly comparable in terms of where the teams are, I think you immediately have to default to the stats where Jaden's running away with it. But right now, with Nix excelling on the brighter stage, it's tough. So I'm pulling for you, Beebs, but I don't have much confidence.
Michigan beats Ohio State for the 3rd straight year, and Ryan Day leaves for Aggieland. Take it or leave it?
Whew, that's heavy. That's a two-pronger. I'll leave it. I don't know that Ryan Day is the guy, but if you listen to Billy Lucci at Texags, I think there is some potential interest in Ryan Day. Here's the reality. This is not like a far-fetched situation. If Ryan Day loses to Michigan for a third straight year, there will be a lot of people in Columbus, Ohio that want him out of there. They don't care about 11-1. They don't care about Big Ten championships. They don't care about college football playoff rankings in November. You must beat Michigan. And they got so used to doing that over a long period of time with Urban Meyer and into the Ryan Day era that it became kind of like habit. And now Michigan's punching back, and they embarrassed them last year in Columbus, running those 70-yard touchdowns at the end. And if Ryan Day's looking for the escape hatch and wants to cash in big in College Station, I don't think it's as crazy as you may believe. Again, I wouldn't bet on that part of it, but there will be some real cranky people in Columbus, Ohio, if Ryan Day can't win tomorrow, and quite frankly, I don't know that he will. So A&M's probably going to make a hire in the next 10 days. I think Ryan Day is a possibility. We'll see.
This is the final LSU A&M regular season finale. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think that they'll put the Texas game back with A&M at the end. It just makes so much sense. I don't know if they'll do the Thanksgiving thing again like they used to. That'd be fine with me. And I wonder what this means for the LSU A&M rivalry, because there's just been so much on the table for these teams. There's been a lot of games that they've gone into where a coach is trying to save his job. There's been a couple Heisman trophies on the line. There's 7 overtime game, and it all has these huge stakes because of how late it is in the season. And if you bring that game back into September or October, what makes it different than LSU and Auburn or LSU and Arkansas? I don't know. It feels like that you're going to immediately switch back to Texas A&M and Texas playing at the end of the season. That's fine with me. I don't really care if LSU's got a permanent at the end of the year or not. They're all pretty important. So I do think this is a real chance to be the last one, though, because it just makes too much sense to dump A&M back in Texas's lap.
LED lights in Tiger Stadium. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. That's fine. If you've missed this, they announced today that they will be making some real improvements to Tiger Stadium. Next year is the 100th year of Tiger Stadium. It opened in November of 1914. And so it'll be 100 years inside Tiger Stadium. They're going to make some improvements. If you watched Alabama and what they've turned that stadium into with all the light shows and whatnot, they're going to do some of that with Tiger Stadium. They're going to put some new video boards in. I don't know if they're going to be in the same spot or they're going to make them bigger. I don't know any of the details of all that, but I'm for it. You're trying to get people to show up at the games and stay at the games. And if that's what it's going to take, it's the same thing like for me with the pitch clock in baseball. Like, I get that you're trying to attract new people, keep people interested and invested. You're not gearing that to me because you've already got me. They've already got me in Tiger Stadium. Now, my job dictates that I have to be there, but I'd be there anyway. They're not trying to do that for me. They're trying to do that for other folks. And if they can enhance the in-game experience, that's good. If the players like it too, that's a bonus as well. So that's one of the things that's on the docket. I'm all for it. Go ahead.
I think I'm a curmudgeon, and I'm like, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it.
It's just, they're just trying to get people in there.
The Smoke Laval Bowl. Take it or leave it.
Many folks calling it the Smoke Bowl tonight between LSU and North Florida, the Ospreys. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, when Smoke was fired at LSU, he took the job at North Florida, became their head baseball coach. North Florida and LSU will play in basketball tonight at the PMAC at 7 o'clock. Be my first trip to the PMAC this year for a basketball game. I'm excited to go in there. Look, North Florida is not very good. LSU should control the game, I would imagine. You're talking about a North Florida team to this point that's 4-2. They beat Coastal Georgia, whatever that is. They beat Charleston Southern. They lost to South Carolina State by 10. They lost to Presbyterian by 12. They beat Northwestern State, the Demons, by 6, and they beat Maine in a 67-58 game. So they haven't been tested by a Power 5. I just like to see LSU go out there and play a really good game. I'd like to see LSU shoot the ball well. I'd like to see him not turn the basketball over. You should win the rebounding battle against this team, which has been a bugaboo for LSU a little bit, and just get some confidence. It was a nice finish to their trip to Charleston after a really disappointing loss. Dayton, where you coughed up a 15-point lead, then you came back and beat North Texas, then came back and beat Wake Forest in an overtime game. So a lot of the SEC teams are struggling a little bit. You saw Arkansas got beat. A&M had their hands full with Florida Atlantic today. Tennessee has played really tough schedule and had a couple of hiccups. I don't think LSU really has to worry about what the rest of the SEC is doing at this point, because I still don't think that LSU is an NCAA tournament game team. But for those of you that are coming into Baton Rouge for the game tomorrow, Maybe you're coming in a night early. You usually don't do that. It's usually a night game, but you have to for an 11 a.m. Looking for something to do tonight? Get down to the PMAC. I'm assuming it's not going to be a real big crowd. Probably lots of tickets available over the ticket office. So I'll be there. Excited to watch LSU in North Florida. The Smoke Laval Bowl, baby. Just can you feel the intensity?
Hunt the Good Ag on AFR today. Take it or leave it. I'm taking this one.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it. For those that are not familiar, we had a little fun at A&M's expense last year on this Friday. This is an A&M team that was terrible at the time. I acted like I was a yell leader. A few people saw it on YouTube. I think it went over pretty well, and then LSU got beat by 1,000, and Devon Achane ran for like 370 yards. Wasn't quite that many, but you get the point. I just am not willing to put myself on the line once again and create that kind of drama and then have LSU get beat by A&M again after they had fired their coach. I'm just not willing to expose myself to that. I still think it's plenty humorous to make fun of some of the things that A&M does, but if my team can't cash in the next day, we just look like an idiot. So I hope that you enjoyed Hunt the Good Ag. He will not be making a return to After Further Review here in 20 minutes, as it were. Those days likely done, unless maybe next week if things go well. We'll see. But
just ruined my whole Friday vibe.
Look, it's just I got to go to Rouse's too. I got the remote, so we got to make that happen.
Shopping on Black Friday, take it or leave it.
I'm leaving it. I don't like shopping, period. I don't like shopping in June. I don't like shopping in January, and I certainly am not going to go out there and shop when everybody's shopping. Incidentally, like my wife has to buy every human she's come into contact with in her entire life a Christmas present. Credit card's on fire at this point, I think. It's out of hand, so I'm going to try to do my part and not spend any money. But no, I will not be doing a lot of shopping on Black Friday. That's not really my style or preferred day. But if you want to get out there at 4 o'clock in the morning for a TV, do it. That's great. Got a lot of great deals. I'm just not going to join you, and that's great news for you, the Black Friday shopper. Just one less guy out there competing with you.
Fake Christmas trees, take it or leave it.
Oh, I got a lot of friends that are on the fake Christmas tree train here. I got to leave it. I want the real tree. I understand the drawbacks of the real tree. They die if you get them too early. There's needles everywhere. You got sap situation. You got to water them. There's maintenance. Plus, I got a cat that wants to get involved here. I got a 2-year-old that wants to get involved here. There are a lot of perils that come with the real tree. I actually think that we're going without a tree this year because we got a situation we're trying to move, and just it's one less thing. And I understand the appeal of the fake tree. I honestly do. I just can't quite get on board with the fake tree. Are you on a fake tree situation? Are you going real tree, no tree?
So I would prefer a real tree.
Yes.
But
you got a space issue?
Yeah, space issue.
You're not one that can get like the 2-foot tree and put a couple of things on it?
Well, no, because like if I'm going to get a tree, I'm going to go all out, right?
Okay.
But I live by, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, you don't have to say where you live.
I can't carry a tree. I just mean like I can't carry a tree by myself.
I understand. You'd have to have a little help.
Yeah.
I understand. All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. Appreciate you, Alondra, for making that happen. Been a good Friday show. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on the Hunt Palmer Show on Black Friday. Hopefully you've had the day off and can spend some time with friends and family after yesterday, or do a little bit of traveling. Those that are hanging out with us en route in traveling, we appreciate that very much as well. We always work on Black Friday because LSU's always got a football game the next day. So T-Bob was here on AFR this morning. Boys were at Rufino's for live at lunch. Matt's next with AFR. We'll also have Cade with Louisiana Prep preview coming up at 6 o'clock. Then Catholic High does have a game. He told me who they were playing. I believe John Curtis is who Catholic High is playing this evening. So that'll be a huge one between those two great historic programs. And then Cade will be back with Louisiana Prep scoreboard tonight from here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. So we're live and local today from 7 a.m. to midnight. That's a full day's work here on the station. We've got one more order of business left to do today, and that is, of course, our final picks for the Falcons and Saints, as well as LSU and A&M. So come back with those on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electric. Protect yourself from power outages. You can do it with Boudreaux's Electric. Look, Neil and Melissa Boudreaux have been running that operation for 40 years. They run it with a lot of high-tech things, like their ability to monitor these generators 24/7 remotely. but they run it like a family business. If you have a tech come out and install a Generac generator at your home via Boudreaux Electric, you're going to get a full-time Boudreaux Electric employee out there. They're not going to contract somebody just for that job to go get it done. It's going to be a full-time employee at Boudreaux Electric, and every single generator that you get from Boudreaux Electric comes with a free 10-year warranty. I'll be telling you about this for the next couple of weeks, but if you call this number I'm about to give you between now and Christmas, and you tell them that you want a generator and that you heard about them on the Hunt Palmer Show, you're going to get some significant savings on that Generac generator. Just give them a call. This is at Gonzales location, 225-300-9389, 225-300-9389. Boudreaux Electric will come out. They will install that Generac generator, and you will get some savings between now and Christmas. Boudreaux Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
Join me and Jimmy out for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch. We're at Big Mike's on Aspen Square in Denham Springs, recapping the final regular season weekend of the college football season. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
A little college football catch-up for you here. I wonder what the folks in Iowa City think of Oklahoma and TCU's game. If you were listening earlier, Iowa beats Nebraska 13-10, under 25.5 cashed. Oklahoma's leading TCU with 2 minutes and 22 seconds to go in the game, 69-45. 81 more points have been scored in this game than were scored in Iowa, Nebraska. Tulane got an early interception against UTSA down in New Orleans. They cashed that in for a touchdown. So with just a minute and a half off the clock in New Orleans in a game that features two unbeaten teams in the American, Tulane leads UTSA and Jeff Traylor 7-0. Missouri and Arkansas will get going at 3 o'clock on CBS. That's in 10 minutes. Texas Tech and Texas for the final time in the Big 12 at 6:30 tonight. Penn State and Michigan State are tonight at 6:30. And then the one that all eyes in Baton Rouge should be on, Oregon State and Oregon. That's tonight at 7:30 on Fox. Ducks are a 14-point favorite. And hopefully the Beavers can shut Bo Nix down and give Jaden the inside track at the Heisman Trophy. We shall see. I'll be at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, coming up here in about 25 minutes. Come by and see me. Be giving out shirts, gift cards, hats, and the like. Always have a good time. 3 to 5, Rouse's, Burbank and Lee. So I will see y'all out there pretty shortly. One thing left to do, that's pick the games first. It's Saints and Falcons.
New Orleans Saints. Final. Pick.
So the Saints are going to Atlanta, and they're coming off a bye, so are the Falcons. First place in the NFC South on the line. The Saints can get to 6-5 with a win and would knock the Falcons down to 4-7 and really take a stranglehold on this division. It wouldn't be over, but they would be in a really, really good position. But to do that, they've got to show up in the first half. They have been playing from behind for a month. You can't do that and expect to consistently win. Carr's off the injured list. He's a clear concussion protocol. He needs to come out and play a little bit better early on and beat a bad Falcons team, force turnovers against Desmond Ridder, and get it done. I've been critical of this Saints team. I think everyone has. I think they've got enough juice to get to the finish line against this Atlanta team in what we're told is going to be a fairly empty and quiet Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Give me the Saints 27-20, and I will take them to move to 6-5 and kind of take control of an atrocious division. All right, let's pick the morning game tomorrow in Tiger Stadium.
The Tigers' championship dreams have disappeared for both, but there is much to play for.
This will be a great challenge for our offense and then certainly for our defense with their skilled players and our ability to certainly play, a complete 4 quarters of football.
And the Texas A&M Aggies.
They're 2 first-round draft pick talent. Look at their stats, look at the talent. These guys are first-round draft picks. They have a talented group. It'll be a great challenge for us. Our guys are looking forward to it.
Now, final pick.
One of the things I don't love about college football is how the significance of games for a lot of teams ratchets way down after you've lost 2-3 games in a season. And that's happened for LSU and Texas A&M. A&M's got 4 losses, LSU's got 3. They're not going to Atlanta next week. They're going to play in some marginal bowl game. But tomorrow's a big game for LSU's program. You lose this game, go 8-4. You lose this game, you lose the opportunity to win the Heisman Trophy. You lose this game, you can't flip some of these A&M recruits that are looking at a team with no coach, maybe. But if you win the game, all those things are possible. 10-win season's possible. Heisman Trophy is possible. Gabe Relaford, possible. You've got to see some momentum here and create something really positive for your program as what you hope to be on the ascent to championships. I told you this at the top of the show. I have reached a level with Jaden Daniels that I reached with Joe Burrow, that I reached with Paul Skeens. It's like these dudes are going to go out there and just straight ball, and there's really nothing the opponent can do about it. A&M's got a fantastic front seven. Fantastic front seven. Edgerrin Cooper's had a monster year. Absolutely. Shamar Turner, McKinley Jackson, Walter Nolan, Shamar Stewart, great players on the defensive front. Jaden Daniels neutralizes those guys. Absolutely neutralizes them. Despite how good A&M's been, 8th in the country in total defense, 2nd in tackles for loss, 3rd in sacks, top 10 in third down, top 15 in red zone prevention. they will not stop LSU. The only thing that can stop LSU is some turnovers. Tipped pass, running back puts the ball on the ground, strip sack. That's all that can happen. In terms of the play-in, play-out sequence for this LSU offense, they will dice Texas A&M, who I expect to play a lot of zone. Now, the question is, can LSU stop A&M? Because they don't stop anybody. Well, A&M's got a third-team quarterback who's not very good, and I think the home crowd will help LSU's defense tomorrow. I really do. I think it's going to be a good environment inside Tiger Stadium. They won't shut A&M down. The Aggies will run the football. They got 3 good backs, and even if Evan Stewart doesn't play, they've got a really good group at wide receiver. And they'll score some points, but it won't be enough. Because when you start talking about Jalen Henderson's third-team quarterback at A&M against the guy who should win the Heisman Trophy, that ain't enough. LSU will roll offensively, and they'll do enough on defense. My final score prediction inside Tiger Stadium, LSU 40, Texas A&M 30. The Tigers win 9 and give a chance to win 10 and win that Heisman Trophy. Let's go see Jaden Daniels one time. Enjoy a final fall Saturday on campus. Should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get out there. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. Come on, Tigers. Let's get it done.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Tom Granick with Gil Martin, Wardo's Po' Boys in Natchez, Mississippi. On behalf of the Granick family,